Hello, JCI USA. Welcome to episode 34 of Leadership Live. Tonight we are going to be talking about competitions and the benefits of competing on a state, national, and even the international level. Right now I have President Sarah of JCI Michigan joining me. And then eventually we will have Gabby and Paige joining us as soon as they're able to get on. Let's go ahead and bring on Sarah. Hey, President Sarah.
Hi, Miranda. Hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good. Enjoying some beautiful weather here in Michigan today. So very excited to be able to actually go outside and enjoy the nice weather.
Is it nice there? It's still hot here.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's in the upper 70s, which is great for me. So
I would love that myself, actually.
You'd have a sweatshirt on, let's be honest.
Yeah, no, probably. When I was actually in Illinois a couple of weeks ago, or Missouri a couple of weeks ago for the float trip, I wound up freezing to death because it dropped to like 60 degrees and everybody else was loving it. And I was like, this is miserable. And I wound up not even going on the float trip because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be in the water in 60 degrees. I'm doing this for y'all, not because y'all don't want to hear me whine the whole entire time. So I opted out of that whole idea. So I would be, it would be pretty miserable. So anyhow, but talking about competitions, I know we have Paige fixing to join us. I know that Samara says that she loves your haircut. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Thank you so much.
We were just talking. Why don't you tell the story real quick while we wait for Paige's stream to load about your haircut?
Yeah, so about a month and a half ago, I cut 24 inches off my hair. My hair had come down past my waist. And so I donated it to an organization here in Michigan that's called Children with Hair Loss. And it's a local-based organization, and they give hair products to children with cancer, alopecia, or other hair loss needs. And the great thing about it is that they never charge a family for the hair products that they receive. And a child gets a new wig or hair product every year until their 18th birthday. And the reason why I keep saying hair product is because it's more than just wigs. So children who are going through cancer treatments and chemo and radiation, many times their scalps are very sensitive, and so they can't wear a full wig. So what Children with Hair Loss does is they make basically baseball caps that have real hair basically embroidered in on the back, on the band on the inside. So it looks like the children actually have hair, but it's not nearly as heavy or as abrasive to their scalps. So they can be able to wear something to make them feel a little bit better. So hats and handkerchief, headband things as well. So I love it. They also will take color treated hair and gray hair. The rule is if it's healthy, we'll take it. And they also only require 6 inches to donate. So when they get my 24 inches, they probably go crazy, going, yay, we finally have long hair. But it's a great organization. And one of the great things that happened is this is my third time donating to them. And after I did my first donation, I found out that a girl in our church actually receives hair from them. And we did the whole like hold my hair up to her hair, and it's almost the exact same color. So there's a very good chance that my hair is actually in a wig that was used by someone that I actually knew.
I just love that story so much. So let's see, we have a couple of comments. We have DMP, our national president candidate, Heather. She was saying that's an awesome, great donation. And then Anna also says that's a great program. And Megan Marie says, Sarah Austin, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Paige, we can't see your camera if we just see that you're on here. But so anyway, back to competitions with us. I know I have personally judged Michigan's competitions before, and y'all run a very great program with competitions, and not only produce great competitors, because I believe when I competed at nationals, I may have lost to Michigan and Hawaii both times. So, how about, why don't you tell us what you learned from competing? Because you've won all the way up to an international competition. You were able to compete at international level.
Yeah, so I'll just share a little bit of my competition story. So I joined the organization in the fall of 2007. And the spring of 2008, I was at a Michigan conference, and my husband, my now husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, wanted to do debate, and they needed another person to do debate. And his line was something along the lines of, "You like to argue, will you be the third person on our debate team?" Because Michigan runs debate in the full team format, similar to what they do on the international level. So I said, sure. And sure enough, we won at that conference, and we ended up winning at the year-end conference for Michigan, which then gave us the availability to go on to nationals. So nationals it would have been spring of 09, I think. We went to Crystal River, Florida, and competed in debate there. So it was my husband, myself, and one of our good friends. And I would have never gone to a national convention if it wasn't for that debate team. My husband had never been to a nationals, and it was just never something we were going to do. But because of the fact that we were going to represent the state of Michigan, we drove straight through to Florida and competed, and ended up taking second place in Florida. And as the story goes, I had kind of been bitten by the competitions bug after that. So I have since gone on and competed at the national level and won in debate, House, which is the regular Speak Up competition, and the Master Speak Up competition. And then I had the opportunity, when I won debate on the national level, to then go on to the conference, the area conference level. So I was in Miami 2 years ago, representing the JCI USA in the Conference of the Americas in Miami, where I am proud to say that JCI USA took second place, which was pretty amazing, especially considering at that point, JCI USA had moved to the individual debate format. So our team that was down there had only practiced together one time. So it was really an amazing experience. And I guess my kind of lesson learned from this, and if I can look back on it, competitions truly gave me a perspective in this organization on both the national and international level that I would have never had if I hadn't competed. When I joined this organization, I joined because I wanted to be able to do community service in my community and make a difference in my community. Yes, I went to state conferences, but it was kind of yeah, we do that, and I'll go. But because of nationals and international conferences through competitions, I've gotten to meet so many people across this organization and learned so much, and had the opportunity to really develop my professional skills. 13 years ago when I joined this organization, if you would have told me that I would be doing conversations like this in front of people, or standing in front of a room full of people talking and speaking, I would have looked at you like you were absolutely crazy. But through the competitions program, I've really developed my interpersonal skills as well as my professional skills. As a profession, I'm an international human resources manager. And so I now frequently am doing video calls and conference calls with CEOs and executive vice presidents across my company. And I have the confidence to do that because of the JCI competition and professional skills program. So that's kind of my nutshell of why competitions rock.
Yeah. And I know for me, it's really groomed my public speaking. And just like you said, I would have never imagined that I would be hosting an online leadership live series if I was looking back at myself 4 years ago. And so competitions definitely, even though I never won one on a national level because I went past some really good competitors, but I did take away some great tips. We'll bring Paige on. Her camera's still not working, but we'll bring her on with her audio because I also want to, Paige, are you there? Okay. Yeah.
while you're trying to get paid, there's one other thing I want to say, and there's a reason why I keep referring to it as the professional skills competitions is, in my opinion, and I'm just one opinion, the program is beneficial to everyone, whether you end up taking first place or not. Because you're developing your skills and you get better every time you do it. You improve your skills every time you do it. So you win whether you take first place or not every time you try. And that's why, in Michigan, we make a heavy emphasis on referring to it as the professional skills competitions program, and putting competitions as the third word in that, because the benefit of that is really the skills development. And yes, it's a competition, and yes, there's a winner, and yes, if you win, you get to go on to bigger things. But on a JC interpersonal skills development basis, just competing, you're winning. Just participating, you win, and you learn, and you grow, and you develop.
Yeah, and you also get to check off a thing on your passport.
Yes, you do.
All right, I think we have Paige on here now, and was it Indianapolis that you won, Paige?
I won at Corpus Christi.
That's where it was. Okay. And she got up there and spoke, and she almost had me like crying over there, which Corpus Christi was a super emotional convention for us anyway. So tell us about your experience with competitions.
So about 2018, I kind of started thinking to myself, what would be an area that I could grow in as a leader and professionally? And I've always been a talker. Anybody who knows me knows that. But as far as speaking in front of large groups of people, that's kind of been an area I've struggled in. And so I kind of told myself, I'm going to compete and speak up and see how it goes. So in the spring of 2018, I competed at our state convention in the spring, and I ended up winning there. And so I earned a place to compete at annual convention in 2019 at the state. And I did. And I also, again, won for the state. And so I earned a place to go to Corpus Christi in the fall last year. And so I had quite a few people along the way that were really great about helping me with just little fine tuning in speeches and the things to be watching for. And every speech I did, I felt like things kept getting better and better. And you could just tell my confidence was growing. And there have been a few members who said they were so proud that they got to see me from the beginning all the way to Corpus Christi. And they felt that I just really had grew and changed in that short amount of time. And yeah, so then I got to compete at Corpus Christi. And to me, that was kind of the big leagues because, you're in front of everyone in the country. And that's the thing about the JCs. Everyone is so good about supporting each other and rooting for each other. And, like Sarah said, it's not necessarily, yes, it's a competition, but it's not really a competition when you're competing with your friends and you're all doing it to grow and be better. And I was really, felt good about my speech. That was the best I had ever done it, was actually in person at Corpus Christi, and felt really good about my impromptu. And the best part was the next day, nothing compares to seeing your name come up on that screen that I just told myself, wow, you did it. You actually pulled it off. And, getting to do my speech in front of the whole General Assembly, that was just, so different. And you're a little nervous at first, but then once you get going, you're just like, oh, these are my friends. Like, it's fine. And, the best part for me is when you see people actually connecting with your message and really finding value in what you're saying. And it was just such a great experience, and it was exciting to be able to move on internationally. However, with COVID, we all know Conference of the Americas didn't happen this year. So I was kind of bummed out about it, but, I was very proud that I made it as far as I did and just how much I grew as a speaker.
Yeah. And like you said, we are the family, and it's the safe place to have that learning curve. And I wish Gabby was able to get her computer to connect, because that was where she and I actually met and made friends, was because we competed against each other. And, you know, and I thought she did exceptionally well. And that's kind of like what my very first I mean, I had met her in passings, but that was our very first like memory of each other, was just kind of sitting there freaking out together, waiting for our turn, and then hearing everybody in front of us, because we went after, I think either I was second to last and she was last, or either I was last, and it was just nerve-wracking, you know. But it was a safe place to sit there and just, you know, have a friend and have somebody be like, okay, it's okay. Like, I'm freaking out too, but it's okay. And to know that at the end of the day, you're not really failing, as Sarah said.
Yeah.
The first friend I ever made in this organization, who I'm still close friends with to this day, is Mark Napierkowski from New York, who was the captain of the New York debate team that we debated against in Crystal River. And exactly what you said, Miranda. I mean, you're competing against each other, but you bond with each other, and you make lifelong friends through the competitions program.
Right. And Samara says that, Paige, your speech did make her cry a little bit, that she loved it. It was something that we all remember. And those speeches like that is what the General Assembly really take back with them, because it's true from your heart, and it's someone that's just like us. We're all in the same leadership development role. And so when we see y'all up there, it's like, oh, okay, look, I can do it too. So with that being said, this year, COVID's going to make everything different. I know that the skills and development team, they're still trying to figure out how they're going to do competitions, but I would personally highly encourage anyone that has an opportunity to compete to definitely do it this year, because of the things that you are going to learn through JCI USA and the competitions. And I believe the write-up is still online, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you've done this more than I have, Sarah. It's still online, and Anna, if you're still on here too, it's online, because I did that one, I think, in 2018, but it was an online essay that they give, and it's timed. I think you have
write-up has been done online for the past few years. Mm-hmm. So that one, I don't see any reason why they would switch that from how it is right now. So write-up online is definitely, you know, has been working that way for some time. I also want to say that, you know, it is possible, and I don't know what the committee, and because the announcement just came out, so I don't know what the plans are, but I will say, from the perspective of Michigan, it is possible to do every one of the national competitions virtually. So in May, when JCI Michigan had to make the tough decision to make our first trimester conference virtual, we successfully ran every competition virtually. Write up, speak up, master speak up, you're hired, debate. So it is possible to do. And I will say this much. I think that this, if they go with a full virtual for competitions, I think that this is actually a very good opportunity for so many of our members, because you're going to be able to compete without having to pay to go to conference, or pay to travel, or pay for a hotel. You're going to be able to do it from the comfort of your own home. And I mean, I want to see so many people competing that the schedule is, you know, a page long of all the competitors that are participating, because this really is one of those lightning in a bottle type opportunities for every member to be able to participate in this. You know, no matter where you're at in your career, you have an opportunity to learn some skills, to work on your skills, and to get constructive feedback. And that's the other part that's very key about the professional skills process is, after you compete, you receive feedback from your judges. And I mean, having competed and having served as a judge, it very much is constructive feedback. You know, we're going to tell you, the judges are going to tell you, you did these things great. Here are some things you could work on. Here's some advice I would give you for the next time you speak. And getting that feedback back, in addition to having, every time you do it, you get more comfortable with it, but getting that feedback from people who truly care about your professional skills development really makes a difference.
Paige, didn't Minnesota have virtual competitions?
Yep, we did. And I agree. I think this is a really great opportunity for a lot of the membership to take advantage of, because one of the things that I commonly was hearing from people is due to scheduling conflicts, it made it really hard for them to compete. Not that they didn't want to, it's just scheduling wise, it never worked out. So I think for people who are finding that to be a problem, this is going to be great, because you'll have an opportunity to do it and still be able to do other things at the same time.
Yeah, and I know that I personally judged Michigan's competitions, and they were amazing. They even have one, it was called Film It, where they made little commercials and little videos, and that one was a super cool one. I would love to see that one come to a national level. But I also, there, when you were talking about the feedback, I thought everyone did exceptionally well. You could tell there were people that were nervous, which rightfully so. They would have been nervous in person as well, but they weren't as nervous because it's just like on a FaceTime call or a Zoom call. And now we've pretty much gotten comfortable with Zoom calls. But the only like main feedback that I really had was that you could tell some people might have been reading. And then I still think that even though it was on a virtual platform, maybe if they still tried to stand up and talk, like almost like a news anchor or weatherman tried to do or would normally do, that would be a good opportunity for them to kind of be able to use their hands and talk instead of just sitting there stone cold, never moving, and things like that. And I don't feel like that was super critical feedback. It was just constructive criticism, but we were all very new in May.
And I think the opportunity to do virtual speeches, virtual presentations, virtual arguments from debate, virtual interviews for your hired. I mean, if we look at today's job market and today's career fields, the number, I'll be honest with you, as an international HR person, the number of times that I'm actually in a room with people doing a presentation is significantly outnumbered, even pre-COVID, is significantly outnumbered by the number of times that I'm doing, well, now we're doing Zoom, but it used to be GoToMeeting or Join Me or all of those. And so really doing virtual competitions is actually a stronger skill set for many careers than in person was, So I think, and I'm just going to give a little plug here for your hired. As we all know, a lot of people have lost their jobs over the past 5 months. And a lot of people are going to have to be interviewing for new jobs, whether that be in person or virtual, depending on when. I highly encourage everyone who's in that situation or thinks they may be in that situation, look at doing your hired. Because if you're doing your hired, you're doing a lot of the legwork you're going to have to do to apply for new jobs and to interview for new jobs. Now, yes, you're not necessarily going to be actually interviewing for the executive director, but those types of, knowing your resume, buffing up your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your 60-second elevator pitch, and the actual interview process virtually is extremely valuable in today's market with the way the interviews are being done. Even after COVID, I think a lot of businesses are going to realize they can save a whole lot of money and time by doing things virtually. My company for 5 months has had a travel ban that you have to get the CEO's approval to travel anywhere. For those of you who know me, I used to travel all the time for my job. I'm pretty sure I'm never traveling again because they've realized Sarah can do her job from her house without paying for any travel or airfare or hotel. And I think a lot of businesses are going to go that way. And same thing with interviews. They're going to be doing virtual interviews because those are less intrusive in the business day to do a virtual interview for at least that first round.
Right. I have my very first interview Monday, and it's a Zoom meeting for a job. So I'm definitely glad that I have all of the Zoom experience that I have and the Leadership Live experience now. So that'll come in handy. And I did do the You're Hired. I also didn't win that one either, but never won a competition.
The other thing I want to suggest is, local chapters or districts or regions within states, you guys can also run competitions. You don't, obviously talk to your state leadership structure because every state is different, but there's nothing that says that your local chapter can't decide that for, before the GMM, they're going to do, a speak up competition on here's the topic, or, a write up competition, and the top write up gets put in your virtual newsletter. So, especially if you're a chapter that's wanting to get more into the professional skills and develop those, but you don't necessarily want to take that giant leap to state or national level right away, go with doing local events. Because honestly, I think a lot of the Michigan competitors will attest to the fact that we've been doing local events and district events for a few years, and it gets people more comfortable with the process, so that when you go on to those state and national events, you kind of have the process under your belt, and then you're just working on your skills.
Is that how Minnesota does it, Paige? Oh, she got muted.
Yeah, so we, mostly the chapters, some of them here and there will do mock competitions. And we've been talking about it ourselves in my chapter for a couple of years. And I think, the year hired, just to add to what Sarah was saying, I'm running for IDVP for Minnesota next year. And that is a competition that we really haven't run yet. And so it's my goal during my year, if elected, to try to encourage more members to take advantage of that, because I do feel like that's a competition that people just haven't been participating enough in, and it is very valuable, and it very easily transcends over to your professional life, because no matter what through your professional career, you're going to need to have those interviewing skills, and the better your skills are, which you improve on through these competitions, the greater chance that you're going to get hired. So that's one of my goals. And yeah, I would agree. I think, any chapter can hold a mock competition. You could even do it as a regional thing in your state if you choose to. I think that it would be really valuable, and I wish we really saw that more.
It's also a great opportunity to get your senators involved, because your senators serving as the judges, who many times our senators are own their own businesses and are business professionals that have seen a lot of things, and so it's also a very good way to kind of connect with your local senators. And if you're doing virtual, they don't even have to be your local senators, right? Like, as Miranda said, she judged Michigan competitions. I promise you, she did not come to Michigan in May. So it's a great way to connect your senators and your ambassadors and your, roosters, associates, whatever you call them, to be able to build that connection. And especially when you've got competitors that are former competitors that are in that group, because as someone who's aging out this year, I want to be able to continue to help the future competitors in this organization. And just because I've aged out doesn't mean my experience isn't, going to be available for others. So if you get involved with your senators, I think that it's a really good way to kind of give them a way to help in a very structured manner that, will be beneficial for both parties.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, it also gives them that platform to be helpful and not necessarily overstep.
Yes.
Structured help.
Yeah.
The thing I've been kind of thinking about too is, and I know that something like this is in the works, but I think it would be nice to start keeping kind of an ongoing list of people who have competed and are winners. So that way, people that are going to be competing in the future can use them as a resource and get kind of some tips and tricks, and have just a contact that they can go to say, hey, how would you do this, or how can I word this differently? Because I know, speaking for myself, like, I am always willing to help anybody that wants to run for Speak Up, or who wants to practice their speech or get any tips or tricks. I'm always willing to help. And I know a lot of other competitors that have competed would feel the same way. And so I just want us to make sure that we're giving people resources too, because for some people, if they just had someone they could run things by or help kind of build their confidence with their speaking skills, their write-up skills, any of that, I think that would encourage a lot more people to participate.
So maybe like a program manager type, like speech coach or just like somebody that keeps up with that? Maybe I'm just trying to brainstorm.
Well, I think look, what Paige is suggesting is if we have a list of who has won House Master debate for the past 5-10 years, which shouldn't be that difficult to put together. There's a core group of us that could probably figure it out.
Right.
If we had that list, then when a state competitor was going on to the national level, or a national team was going on to the international level, they would know. So, like, for example, the debate team that was going to try and go to Panama City, because one of them is a Michigan JC, she knew that I had competed in Miami. So they reached out to me with, can you give us some advice, some feedback, things like that. But I think that unless you are in the loop, you don't know who's already won. And I think that by putting together a list, it also takes away for states that don't necessarily have legacies of strong competitions programs. It makes it so that those members know who they can go to in another state that they may not know, right? Because there are a few powerhouse states, but that doesn't mean that there aren't really great competitors in other states that just may not have the support in their home state because they don't have a history of competitions. That doesn't mean that we can't help. Just because it's a competition doesn't mean I'm not going to help somebody from outside of Michigan, right? Like, I'm here to help whoever wants help.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it looks like MVP Anna says that they have started a mentoring list for JCI USA. I was just trying to figure out, though, because like right now we have one program manager over competitions, wondering if that's almost too broad. And then maybe we could have, which I probably brainstorming out loud and I shouldn't be, but maybe if we had like someone that just did trainings specifically to debate and one specifically to write-ups and, maybe quarterly or something. I don't know. We'll let MVP Anna.
I can see Anna. I can see Anna taking all sorts of great notes on these good ideas.
Blowing up the other side of her keyboard. So, but is there anything else that we're leaving out of the benefits of competing?
I mean, I think there's also a benefit to, if you're not comfortable doing the competition process yet, participating by being in the room where it happens, and I don't know how it's going to work for virtual, but in an in-person competition, when we have them at nationals, almost all of the events, write-up you can't, and I don't think you can for your hired, but speak up, master speak up and debate, there's an audience that can be in the room when you're doing this. So be there to support your fellow members from your state, and be there if it's something you think you're going to want to do in the future, because the best way to learn is to watch somebody do it. It's what does it say? Watch one, do one, teach one is kind of a learning method. And so take the opportunities to witness and see the process happen, because I promise you it's not nearly as scary as it looks when you read it on paper. I promise you that.
No, and right now, I mean, I didn't compete last year because I was running for an office, but in 16, 17, and 18, when I did, there weren't very many competitors either. So, I mean, it's not super, super intimidating. I think in the impromptu speak up is the one that was the most intimidating, but there were like 4 of us. Just 4. That was it. Everybody except for me placed.
Yeah, and I agree that, that's how I first got interested in competitions, was actually being in the room and watching others compete. And I think being competitions PM for Minnesota also kind of helped me, because I was actually running them, and then actually competing yourself, you kind of go full circle with it. And I would agree, it's, and the one thing I would say too is when you are going to support those members, do just that. I've sat in before on, some competitions where some members were not, as kind, or were kind of being disrespectful, and it was affecting the competitors. And we just got to remember that, we are the JCs and we need to set those good examples. And not treat anyone any differently than how we'd want to be treated. So show those competitors respect, because it takes a lot of hard work and determination and, quite frankly, guts to stand in front of your peers and to give a speech or write or debate in front of your peers. It takes a lot. And so I just would really encourage anybody who hasn't competed before to take an opportunity and do it. You will be so surprised and thankful that you did, because you're going to grow in the process.
Yeah.
And I would say if you're a state or a local organization that's looking at like kind of starting competitions, there's some great stuff that's been put together over the past few years that are, toolboxes and infographics and things like that to help you be able to do it in your local environment. And once again, if you're doing a local competition, there's nothing that says you have to do it using the international rules, right? So there's nothing that says you have to speak up in your local chapter as a 3 to 5 minute speech, right? If you want to do them as 2-minute speeches, it's still giving people the skill set and giving them the comfort level that then you can step up later. So, there's lots of great information. If you look in the document library, I know the 2019 Awards and Competitions Committee created some really great infographics on how the processes work. And there are some toolkits and some kind of plug and play. How do I run a district or regional competition? So the tools are out there if you're looking for it. And I'm sure you could reach out to the awards or the competitions committee for 2020, and they could help point you in the direction of some assistance.
Yes. And I mean, I'm sure anyone else that has competed in the past would be more than willing to. I mean, I would. You said you would. Paige said she would. NVP Anna's got a list together. So if you're interested, or if you just want some more questions answered, feel free to reach out to NVP Anna. She'll get you in touch with someone that can get you some help. So are we forgetting anything else, ladies? I know, Sarah, I have had you on before, and so I've gotten your YIJC story. Paige, have I had you on yet?
I don't think so yet.
I couldn't remember if I had you on either. Okay, so in honor of our 100th anniversary, and I am kind of putting you on the spot, so I'm testing your impromptu speak up skills right now, because I did not forewarn you about this, but you've seen the show, so you kind of know how it goes. In honor of our 100th anniversary, I am collecting 100 awesome stories of 100 awesome people, and this week is 89 or 90. So will you tell us your YUJC story?
So in 2017, I was just kind of at a place in my life where I felt like something was missing, that I wasn't giving back enough. And so I had kind of just put a vague Facebook post out there. Hey, does anybody know of any local organizations or any groups looking for volunteers? And so I put that out there, and my cousin Scott Link was a member of JCI Staples, and he suggested that I join the JCs, and he thought I would make a great JC. So he told me about when their next membership meeting was, and I decided to check them out. And just kind of after hearing about the projects they were running in the community and the things they were doing, it really sounded like something that I should be a part of. And so I made the choice to join. And although in the beginning I thought I was looking for volunteer opportunities, JCI Staples became a family, and I just was able to experience and learn so much from them over the years and be a part of so many great projects and really making the people in our community, making their lives better. And so, what started as a volunteer quest has really allowed me to grow and really be a leader. And that was not initially what I was looking for, but I'm very thankful that I took a chance and decided to join, because I do feel that this is the greatest young person's organization. And we just give so much value, not only to the community, but to our members. We offer competitions. These are things that not every organization offers to people. And so I'm just very thankful for all the great people I've met, all the amazing opportunities I've had, going to several national conventions and attending North American Academy back in January. All of those opportunities have helped shape me into the leader I am today. And so, yeah, I'm just very thankful for this organization, and I can't wait to see what we do in our next 100 years.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Sarah, even though I have gotten yours before, there might be one of the viewers that didn't hear it. I don't get to count it towards my goal, but if you'll share yours again.
Sure. So I had kind of mentioned this earlier. So I originally joined the organization in 2007 because I was looking for a way to be involved in my community. I was in a co-ed community service fraternity in college, and after college became an advisor, and then realized as I got very close to my 30th birthday that I really shouldn't be trying to hang out with the college kids anymore because I was becoming the old lady. So a friend of mine who actually was in my fraternity recommended the JCs, check it out. And honestly, when I joined because I wanted to do community stuff in my community and make a better place. That's why I joined. The reason I stayed is because of the people. It's the people I've met through this organization. It's the people that have encouraged me to take the next step, to reach for stretch goals. It's the people that I've been able to help in this organization. Having been a JC for 13 years, I can look back on my time and I can see when I was the one needing the hand up, and now I've gotten the privilege of being the one to give the hand. And we do amazing things in our communities. We touch people's lives. In Michigan, one of our primary fundraisers is the charitable gaming millionaire parties, which is basically poker rooms. And I tell people that the reason why I work a poker room till 2:00 in the morning, pre-COVID, till 2:00 in the morning, is so that my chapter can have the funds to be able to provide Christmas gifts to 50 children and pancake breakfast with Santa. I do that so that we can, cover the costs for local community events and things like that. And I get to have a lot of fun doing it. And I've made lifelong friends doing it, And so I stayed because of the people and because of the person I've become through this organization, and wanting to give every member that opportunity. There was a comment made earlier about the fact that the Speak Up and professional skills competitions give people the courage to do it because it's people just like them. Generally speaking, most of the competitors are general members or local officers. If you're a state officer, in many cases, you're actually not eligible to compete in a lot of the competitions. And that, to me, puts the focus on the most important member in this organization, which is the general member. I've said many times that though you get fancy name badges, the further you go up in the organization, your value to the organization, your most important title ever is general member. So I may be JCI Michigan's 96th president, but the most important title I hold is general member of JCI. And by giving the professional skills competitions the power and the ability for those general members to have that moment in the spotlight and that moment to see just how amazing they are is worth everything.
Yeah, I mean, you've left me speechless because that doesn't ever happen. So, except for at an impromptu competition. But, all right. Thank you, ladies. I really enjoyed having you both. I wish Gabby was able to get on here because I really wanted to be able to tell the story about our competition experience. But maybe we'll be able to get on here and do a special edition of it. So NVP Anna and her team, they're going to be working with the competitions and setting a new direction for that. And so all of that will be released super soon. We highly encourage you to sign up for it because you literally, if you win, you win. If you lose nothing, like President Sarah was saying earlier. So if you ladies, do y'all have any last things to add?
It's great to see you virtually. I wish we were able to get together in person, and everybody stay safe and keep doing all the great things that everybody's doing. I'm seeing amazing stuff across the country from local chapters, and it's just blowing me away. Every time I open my Facebook feed, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest idea. So everybody's, it's been a long 5 months, but I think that we have shown that even COVID-19 can't keep JCI down.
It's very true.
Exactly. It's so hard because we're such social creatures by habit, and every JC loves to be with other JCs, so it's really been hard, but everybody's been doing such a great job, like you said, Sarah, staying positive, and and that was my focus too this year. COVID or not, we're going to keep moving forward. The JCs don't stop for COVID. So thank you so much for having me, Miranda. It was really fun getting to talk to you guys. I wish my camera worked so you could have seen me too.
No, I don't know why it didn't work. Samara, NVP Anna is working with her team. We should know something about competitions really, really soon. But as soon as we know, we will get that information out. Okay, so next week I have past President Jen Ray on here, and we will be talking about changes to the celebration of the century and things that you can still do to get involved for that. So we will see you next week on Leadership Live. Bye, guys.
Bye.